The thing I was saying is that in the air conditioning system, up until today, the AC systems used to take only 25% of the clean air from outside and then do the whole thing inflow within the room. But now they're coming up with new technology that takes 100% from outside and inflow it as an AC inside. Okay. So hopefully that could work out so soon so we can have it all set up.
Okay. All right. Hello, Ferda.
Hey, Bruce. Hey, Cemil. How are you?
Hey, Ferda. You look 10.
Southern Turkey, what to do?
Very good. Okay. Ferda, as I mentioned to you, I will, we will have, everybody will introduce themselves, and then we'll get to Cemil, and then I'll ask you to introduce yourself also. Okay?
Sure, thank you.
As we agreed. All right.
Will we be able to make a presentation?
I don't know. Let me see. If
you
I can
give me, if you like, you can, let's try, if you don't mind, Bruce.
No, now you're a co-host. Yeah, you'll be able to make a presentation.
Oh, great. Okay.
Okay. Do you know how to share your screen?
Yeah. Do you see my screen?
Yeah, we all see it now.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Stop sharing.
So when it comes your time to, you can, want to make a presentation, that's fine.
Great.
Not too long though.
No, it will be within 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay. Okay, good. So Cemil, when it comes time for you,
Hello.
Or somebody will help you to.
Yeah. I mean, that really isn't an issue because I can go through my notes too. I don't want to bore people with all this information as it goes.
Okay.
If I decide to go with the PowerPoint presentation, I'll have, I know how to do it, so I can just punch it here. Or I could just, talk through it.
Okay.
So what time is it in there? Like 11? I mean, 10 or 9?
10, yeah. Oh. All right.
So we are.
So we lost Elodie. Where did she go? Okay. All right.
Any disconnections?
Now, who did you send invitations out to? Different stakeholders?
Yeah, well, we're going to put this through the YouTube and let people know that they can go in there and then, just watch it and see it there. We'll stay for a while and we'll share it through our newspapers and other means of disseminating information. How's the weather in France, Bruce?
It's hot, like we said. Okay, c'est Francois. Okay. I'm going to see. Oh, you're back.
I'm sorry, I was disconnected. I hope it doesn't happen again.
Okay.
Well, for a while, I thought you just left us.
Yeah, I was disappointed.
Okay, and there's Francois.
I hope it's stable.
Francois from
Hello.
Luxembourg.
Good morning, everybody.
Good
Hello,
morning,
Francois.
Francois.
Okay, and we're just waiting now. How's the weather in Luxembourg, Francois?
It's quite unusual. It's not usual, but it is sunny and without rain, so we don't understand. There is something strange in the atmosphere. So usually it's raining, but it's okay.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
As long as it's dry, it's no problem. Humidity is the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We still have a few minutes.
Yep.
And Mert's didn't turn his video on yet.
I think he's watching you now.
Okay. So, Jamil, everybody's back in the office now?
Everybody's back in the office. We're all safe and all. And only difference is we're starting half an hour early and leaving half an hour early. So most of the places, like public offices, they're all open. Life is back to normal. The only thing is you just gotta, wear this face mask and stay away from people as much as possible. And the police is reinforcing it. If they see anybody without a face mask, they write you a ticket and all. So they're pretty much enforcing the new laws and everything. And Turkish Airlines, by the way, started flying all over again.
Oh, really? Again? Okay.
They're flying.
I haven't checked.
To I think Chicago and Washington in America they started, and I think they're flying in Europe 23 destinations as of now.
Okay.
But I don't know how it's working. Like, I mean, if I'm flying to, let's say, Paris, what happens in Paris? Do they keep me there for a while, or would I just walk out the door? And I don't know.
Well, it depends. Right now, if you come to Paris, if you come to France from the US, they'll put you in quarantine for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks?
Yep.
Wow.
That's the incubation period. So I'm just trying to contact Elodie.
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me, but the image is frozen on my end.
Okay.
We can.
All
But
right.
I can hear
Well,
you very, very well. I hope you can hear me.
Yes,
yeah, we can hear you. Don't worry.
Okay, good.
Okay. All right. Let me just see. I'm going to try to call. Okay. I'm just trying to see. Okay.
How about sports activities in France, Bruce? Are they started or?
The swimming pools have opened yesterday.
Swimming pools?
It's just the public swimming pools, they reopened yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And they only open 3 hours at the time, because every 3 hours they have to clear everyone out and clean everything.
Oh my God.
Yeah. we don't have, also the professional sports are stopped in France as different from other countries.
Yeah.
So they're stopped, like the Paris Saint-Germain is not playing.
Right. Yeah.
That's
Okay. All right. So Laurence is here from Brussels. Hello, Laurence.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet
Hello,
you.
Laurence.
Thank you for being here. Okay, great.
Good to know.
Okay, so we'll be going to be recording this session. The decision was made not to have a lot of participants today. So what we're going to do is we're recording this webinar, and that after the webinar, they're going to publish it. The Istanbul Convention and Visitors Bureau will publish it on social media. so that all of their stakeholders will be able to see to watch it.
And also as
Okay.
well as in YouTube, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So just to get started, I'll get started right now. I'll start off myself. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this session, this webinar. My name is Bruce Redor, and I work with Gaining Edge, which is a specialty consulting firm which works only in the business events sector. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this webinar, which is sponsored by the Istanbul Convention and Visitors Bureau, as well as One Istanbul. And we want to talk to you today about the impact of COVID-19 on the business events industry and what some of the leading cities and countries across Europe are doing to mitigate the effects of the crisis, but also to put together recovery plans in order to bring meetings back to their destinations as quickly as possible. So first of all, I'd like to welcome the different speakers for this session and ask them to quickly introduce themselves. So the first one is Elodie Berta, who's from the Paris Convention Bureau. Good morning, Elodie. Can you introduce yourself?
Good morning. Good morning, Bruce. Good morning, everyone. Yes, I'm Elodie Berta, and I am promotions manager at the Paris Convention and Visitors Bureau. And I am specifically in charge of Middle East markets, as well as Scandinavian and Japanese markets. Okay.
Thank you, Elodie. Welcome. Laurence, can you introduce yourself then, please, from the Visit Brussels Convention and Association Bureau?
Yes, hello. So Laurence from Brussels. I'm now in charge of the Convention Bureau for 3 months because I'm managing the team ad interim because our manager, Virginie, got her first child. So this is a great news for us. And basically, I'm also taking care of the communication and marketing aspects of the B2B sectors for Visit Brussels for 2 years already. So
Great. A lot of good experience. And then we have Francois Lafont, who is from the Luxembourg, from Business Events Luxembourg. Francois?
Oh, I'm Francois Lafont. Hello, everyone and everybody. I'm the manager of the CEO of the Luxembourg Convention Bureau, which is a brand new convention bureau, was from the last year. So I just began on the 11th of June last year, so 1 year.
Okay, but before he was in the city of Toulouse, where he was for a long time, responsible for business events. And then we've got Cemil from the general manager of the Istanbul Convention and Visitors Bureau. Cemil?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. My name is Cemil Kılıç, and I'm from the Istanbul Conventions and Visitors Bureau. I've been on the board for the last 2 years, and before that, I was working for the Chamber of Commerce, which is our embedded body. And we are trying to do our best with these webinars, and I'd like to thank you, Bruce, for this occasion. And I have my business partner, Mr. Ferda, also on the line after me, so I'd like to introduce himself too. Well, thank you for now, for this.
Okay, Ferda, you're on, Ferda.
Hello, everybody. This is Ferda. I'm the founder of Pangea, which is a digital destination marketing company and the travel technology. We had co-founded One Istanbul concept together with ICVB, and we're cooperating very closely, and it's great to be here.
Great. All right. Good. I think amongst all the panelists we have today, I think we can all agree that the COVID-19 crisis has had a devastating impact on our industry, the business events industry, resulting in canceled or delayed events all over the world. The financial impact on our industry is estimated to be in the billions and billions of euros. However, as we see more and more countries moving out of lockdown and opening up their economies, convention bureaus are starting to prepare for the future, for what we're calling the new normal. But this is a difficult task, and we'll talk about that today, because we don't really know what the future looks like or what the timing is going to be. So today we're going to be talking about the new roles that convention bureaus will need to play, the new business models they'll need to develop if they want to remain effective sales and marketing organizations for their destinations, in the wake of the COVID-19 crisis that we're all experiencing. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to start by asking each of the different panelists to make a short presentation about what's going on in their different cities. So I wanted to start with Elodie Berta from Paris. Elodie, can you describe some of the most important actions that were implemented by the Paris Convention Bureau in response to the COVID-19 crisis?
Yes, thank you. So yes, there were many steps that were taken gradually since the crisis started. The very first steps were taken by the state and the city, and we just followed their lead. We were a lot of our members were expecting a lot from us. Everybody was completely taken aback, obviously, by this crisis. So what we did first was set up an online crisis meeting series every week, such as like this, a Zoom meeting for our members, either for all our members together or by sector, the hotel sector, the restaurant sector, etc., etc. These meetings were meant to, first of all, to listen to our members, listen to their problems, their issues, their worries, etc., and also explain what was going on the legal side, on the city side. There were a lot of subsidies that were offered, but they were coming from different channels. So we were sort of a hub for everything that was going on, everything they could maybe apply to or hope to get. We also set up an observation center. We permanently have a statistical department, but this department stepped up and put together new barometers to study, for example, the intentions of returning to Paris from visitors from all over the world, the situation with the airlines, when they were going to pick up, what the flights were going to be coming from and to, etc. So these barometers are, of course, still on. We expect we will publish monthly reports until at least December for our members. So it helps them to understand where they should target their promotions, their actions to have visitors come back, obviously from close by at the moment, but extend to new geographical areas as the time comes. And we obviously used our website as a hub for all sorts of information. The legal side, what the state is doing, for whom, how to apply for it, what the city is doing, exactly the same. And also for us, we put together a pledge, the Caring Attitude Pledge. It's a pledge that our members are invited to sign and to post on their website, on their social networks, and on their window front as well, to explain and, of course, show how secure the place is, how healthy, how sanitary it is, so that the clients, the returning clients, are aware of what steps are being taken, how safe they can be in this restaurant, in this hotel, in this boat tour, whatever. These are the main 3 steps that we took.
Okay, great. So a lot of communication going on your part.
Yes, and still going on today now that even that lockdown is over, of course, we continue, of course.
Okay, very good, very interesting. Okay, we'll come back to you. Laurence, I know that Brussels was very quick to get on, to start working on recovery plans. And you put together a very ambitious recovery plan. Can you explain the role that the different stakeholder groups within Brussels, the role they played in working with you to develop the recovery plan for Visit Brussels put together?
Yes, sure. Indeed, as soon as the crisis started, it was important for us to build on one side strong relationships with the stakeholders and the partners in Brussels, and also to build the recovery plan along with them and to include them in the process. So since the beginning of the lockdown, we brought together all the key players and partners around the table. Could be a hotel, could be a venue, could be a museum, all touristic venues. It was really open to the B2B and B2C players in Brussels. And of course, all the event agencies, the event organizers, and international association based in Brussels as well. So we really mixed everyone around the table, and everyone is free to join anytime. It's totally open. And the aim to have all these key players around the table was, yes, really to build this post-COVID era together. And concretely, based on that, we created 5 working groups with all these hundreds of stakeholders. And we've been also like in Paris, exactly, regularly meeting and exchanging online. At least every 2 weeks, we have working sessions. And what we are doing with this group is, of course, exchanging, listening, but most importantly, really developing different scenarios to build the recovery plan and to rebound after the crisis. It's a plan which is now that is now including about 50 concrete actions who are really detailed, like who is the target, what are the objectives, the budgets, the deadline, the impact we hope. And it's not only, let's say, these are not only actions during the crisis or just after the COVID pandemic, but also on the longer term. It was really important for us to see on the longer term, end of 2020, of course, but 2021, 2022, how can we help the sector to rebound and to be prepared also in the case something like this similar happens again. So that was really important. And I think that's really one point of this plan. One of the strengths of this strategy is really to be transparent, but also to be discussed along with our government. It means that in parallel to these task force and these working groups with the industry, we are also at Visit Brussels. The managers of Visit Brussels are in permanent contact with our government, and also part of a task force, which include the decision makers at the government level, and also other public interest organizations. So this is the way we can make sure that these actions are accepted, supported, and also funded by our government. So this is the way we proceed. So of course, internally, it's a huge work. It has impacted our organization. The teams are really working hard, but it's our job to help rebound, and we are happy to do this. We can. I don't know if you want to have a few ideas of concrete actions for the MICE industry within this plan, or we can discuss this later if you want.
We can discuss later. I think that
Okay,
would be
good.
very nice. Thank you, Laurence. Thank you. Okay. Now, Francois, I know that in Luxembourg, you worked very closely with the Business Events Luxembourg Advisory Board. Can you describe the process that you put into place and what some of the actions and recommendations were made by you and the advisory board? Francois?
Yes, it's me now.
Okay.
Yes, it was very challenging because, as I said, it was a brand new convention bureau, and the first meeting of the advisory board was in last year in November. So inside this advisory board, there is some part of public representative, like the government, the Chamber of Commerce, the city of Luxembourg, and also some economic part, like Lux Innovation, for example, and also all our partners, which are in different categories, like service provider, venues, hotel, independent hotel chain, and agency, and yes, this is globally what we could have inside all our industry That means we have all the chain for this industry. So it was the second meeting was in February, and then we have the COVID situation. So all our plan was collapsed, and we have to create a very close relation between people. So we work closely with our partners to create the group in the first time, and to have a vision, share vision all together, because at the beginning they don't. All people are stoned and don't know what to do and how to do that and how to work in this situation. So, as Paris or Brussels said, we work together and we create a plan for recovering and a plan for the future and a long term for the future. That means that we try to have a short-term plan to work on very close and very short-term, and have a long-term vision on the digital way.
Okay, great.
So I could explain you later, maybe a little bit what is.
Thank you. That's a great introduction. Good. Cemil, can you tell us a little bit about what's going on in Istanbul at the ICBB?
Yes, sir. Well, in Istanbul, there's resemblances like this. And the first thing happened was, you know how you flash a light into a rabbit's eye and it just freezes? That's how it was for the couple of weeks. Everybody just froze and didn't know what to do and just waited. And after that, the stage turned into okay, what can we do now? After this punch on the face, nobody knew what to do. Borders closed, of course, first. And then we have, as the ICBB, we do have a lot of city partners on our table of the board of directors. So there's a representative from the governor's office, there's a representative from the mayor's office, a representative, president is the Chamber of Commerce, and all these sides, all together, we sat down and went over it and, try to find out what we can do. And frankly, nobody knew in the beginning what to do. There's so much you can do because you don't know this enemy, if it's called enemy in that sense. But thank God, with the state also, as of today, Turkish population is 82 million. And our death toll for this COVID-19 is still under 5,000. So that's a very good number in that sense. And state, again, with all the sides, they have built a lot of hospitals and new places. And the capacity of the hospitals for the urgent healthcare has never exceeded like 30s or 40s. It's in the incubator side, it's only 5 to 6%. So we do have the capacity to take care of people. And the brand new hospitals were built just for this pandemic. And they're taking pretty good precautions for that. As for the ICBB side, we did conduct some surveys with our members and asked them what they, think of that situation and how they perceive it. And the fact is, people usually concerned about income, money, or financial things, but to me, it seems like it's more psychological, which will be seen after this mess is all over. Then it'll hit, because people still have this thing in their mind about travel. And the thing about tourism, as you all know, it is very much susceptible to outsourced forces. Any little thing happens, everything just goes away. And it comes back sometimes with the same speed, but sometimes, in this case, for example, even though you're saying everything's open, you can go, you're free to do whatever you want to do, nobody would like to travel with the face masks on their heads and go to a beach and stay like 2 meters away from somebody, or go to a soccer game and when there's a goal, they can hug each other, that sort of thing. It just doesn't give you that feeling again. So it has to go away 100% first, or else we'll have to, adjust ourselves to this new era. The other thing we've done is we've done informative sessions with One Istanbul, with Mr. Ferda. And I think we did a very good job because there are a lot of informative information that you can't find on the internet. And luckily, like the TripAdvisor that we have an agreement with as a partner, they mentioned that in Europe, Turkey being the #1 spot for people searching on the net. So that tells us after this fog is cleaned out, we are expecting a lot of tourists are coming to Istanbul and to Turkey. And also we have provided in our webpage a lot of information, like constant information provided by the government or by other means to our members and to public to let them know what's going on. In a nutshell, this is it, Bruce, for your question.
Great.
Thank you.
Good. Thanks. We'll come back. Ferda, up to you. You have the floor there. From One is.
Thank you. Let me try to share what we had done with a presentation, if you don't mind. I'm just, can you see my screen, the presentation?
Okay. There it is. Yeah,
yep.
We can see it.
Okay.
You can put it on full screen there. Okay, good.
Yeah, I will do it. Wait a second. Show.
This is our brand, by the way, Bruce. The One Istanbul.
Yeah. Okay.
And the longer term is there is only One Istanbul.
There's only One Istanbul. Yeah.
Good point. Thank you, Jimmy. I think we were a bit fortunate in terms of taking the activities or our efforts, because One Istanbul had started in 2000, seeded, let's say, in 2015, and then in 19 we had created a full digital strategy and a community framework together with ICVD, which was including a lot of information, learning, connections, trading, and so on that I will come. But that's why we had the chance to act very fast when the crisis hit. What is One Istanbul is a brand, is the brand of the city, official destination brand, and a community. The idea is here to merge the destination marketing and community management concepts together. So together with ICVD and Pangea, we had created such a brand. We had promoted as an official destination influencer with a holistic approach on B2C promotion in establishing a B2B platform. And we had merged also the content, promotion, and data sources from the travel industry, from whole ecosystem. Our model is also based on a strong global partnerships idea and to create a sustainable revenue model. In a nutshell, as I said, One Istanbul is a B2C community for the international travelers and a B2B community for the stakeholders in the destination. I'm passing very fast because those are things you already have a lot of knowledge as well. The idea, the why of One Istanbul is in fact to bridge our B2B members, our B2B community with our visitors, to increase the visitor numbers, to increase the satisfaction from the destination. And that's how we operate, with a lot of B2B partners and with a lot of global brands that we can reach to our visitors or potential visitors. Here's the framework that I was trying to explain. It's in fact a 4-step framework from the community community management, where we start to teach, to create educational events, to create educational and informative content, to inform them periodically with newsletters, with webinars, with other activities, to connect them together. So the B2B partners or global stakeholders to meet and come together, and finally, obviously, to trade. And this whole cycle is continuously growing. There are many things that that is included in our community strategy, from our resources to our partner resources, which includes all the content for teaching, informing, connecting, and trading. So we are trying to create a paradigm shift in that respect. Some of our international partners are in social media, in digital media, and in travel media, where we do gather all the capacities of data, of content, and obviously of communication. And we have reached to a very remarkable number of followers that are extremely active, which is the great news. And total monthly reach had increased to over 700,000. One important thing that we are focusing is the content management and curation, because content is vital for all the decisions, both for B2B or for B2C. And that's why we make a great content analysis and content focus together with IC. We create various contents, as well as we also utilize user-generated content, which is a very strong tool. This is one of the campaigns that we had done together with Turkish Airlines, for instance. In the end, we had reached to over 700,000 participations, which is, I believe, a world record. The other thing, as I mentioned, are our global partnerships with TripAdvisor, with Facebook, Instagram, Google, and many others. And the profile of our organization, for now, we had reached to over 3,000 business included in our community, where majority is obviously hoteliers, and from event planning to MICE companies, from aviation to retail, and even DMOs. Our audience is pretty high level, as you can see in One Istanbul. 39% are a decision maker. In fact, when we include the manager and director level, it's even higher than that. And what we do in terms of teaching, as I said, we had made a series of events for teaching, and we create industry reports. We post weekly reports from our partners. We make opinion leaders together with online events with opinion leaders. For instance, we had made one with Sentil from ICA that was very informative, or with CVent. Those are, and one very important activity was with Professor Eisenberg from Babson College in terms of resilience, because this is the most important factor right now, especially in tourism sector, to create how to make resilience in terms of keeping and growing from now on. In information, as I said, video tutorials, interviews, newsletters, social activities, and so on. In connecting, we built a lead generation strategy through content marketing campaigns. Again, these events are very successful tools to create this connectivity. And in terms of trade, we are now planning, VR, FemCreeps, video, full user experiences with the visual demonstrations, online summits, info days, and virtual fairs. Here's some screenshots from our webinar series that collected really great audience, and a lot of ideas from multidisciplinary perspectives came to improve itself. And that's basically it, I mean, in a nutshell. Thank you.
Great. Very, very interesting. I'm sure it would great for Istanbul to have that platform and that approach to be able to rely on. Good. I think one of the interesting things, or one of the challenges in this period, is how to communicate with our different segments of the clientele, associations, corporates. We know that many organizations, a lot of corporations have said that they will not be holding meetings in the short term. Some associations are thinking about doing it, but they're not sure how, what kind of format. Is it a virtual meeting? Is it a hybrid meeting? Can they come and meet together as long as social distancing is respected? So what I wanted to ask the different panelists, perhaps starting with Laurence, is what kind of communication have you maintained with your different clients, with your association clients, with your corporate clients? What's the message you've been sending along to them? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Quite classical mistake, sorry. So basically we continued communicating with them. Of course, it's quite complicated at the beginning, in the beginning to choose the right messages. But as regarding our international audience, we've been continuing keeping them informed on what was happening, the situation in Brussels. But most importantly, at the convention bureau, we have shared all the contacts that we have, whereas they are corporate agencies or international association, whatever their location. And we after a few weeks, we have started not really prospecting again, doing really feedback calls and just saying hi and taking care of them. That was quite important for us as well, because we've been working for some of them for years now, or we are defending projects to bring them in Brussels. And it was really important to also see what was the situation for them. And yes, say that we are, it was really a direct contact and really personalized, each case per case, we should say, to see what could we do. And just to inform that we are there, because basically when no one has any news and don't know what are the possibilities to, when will it be possible to reorganize congresses or meetings, there is nothing else to do at this stage. So this has been done. So we continuing our direct contact with the sector and with our clients or potential clients for Brussels. We also have these talks. So we have like for international association based in Brussels, or even if they are not based in Brussels, actually, we have the between talks, which are also the team meetings where every single association, and we really address the topics actually. So for them or for other sectors, what we ask, we have an online form and we just say, okay, what do you need? Do you need trainings? Do you need information to help with your team, with your staff internally? Do you have communication issues? And we really try to address their need and see who can help. So basically, sometimes we organize meetings where we training sessions with different topics that they have asked actually. And sometimes we just, where we put FAQs online, we really interact with all the questions that are addressed. And so this is really an important part of the job of the Association Bureau here in Brussels, because we have more than 2,000 associations whose headquarters are here. Yeah. And for the other organizers, of course, and the agencies, sectors, PCOs, AMCs, and all the corporate sector. We do exactly the same. That's really, we try to be as proactive as we can. And also, aside this, we have plenty of initiatives to keep people informed of what's happening whenever there are changes in the possibilities in Brussels, what is open, what is closed. So we have really online portals with all this kind of information, which could be a restaurant, could be a hotel, could be a venue. We really sending every 2 weeks inquiries to the sectors. Like we just did one for to know which venue has reorganized its capacity, has put in place measures for the allocation of space or security measures or hygiene. So we really put all this information and make sure that the demand is meeting the offer that we can offer in Brussels. And beside this, we have a hygiene and security label, which will be launched in the coming days. We have a major marketing campaign to promote the destination, focusing on local, neighboring, and wider markets, and well, quite a number of tools.
Great, great. And Elodie, what about you? The communication with your different clientele?
Yes, as Laurence said, the most important thing for us was to keep in touch with our trade partners, our clients, our future clients. And so it meant keeping a link via newsletters, of course. We have sent at least 1 or 2 newsletters, depending on the segment and the geographical zone. And also right now we are presenting today our new action plan for the end of, for the second semester. Obviously it was completely redesigned with a lot of virtual and digital events instead of physical events abroad in the markets. Right. And so we are presenting them today to our members, our partners. It will be free for them as a measure to support our members and the sector of the meeting industry in Paris. Every event we propose on the second semester will be free for them. We have received subsidies from the city to hold these events. And so we will be communicating to all our clients and all our base of clients regarding these events in the next few days. It's actually happening today, so it will be in the next few days. The message we have been sending, and we will keep on sending, is Paris is working on very strong safety measures, health and safety measures, as everybody is, obviously, but we need to send this message for Paris as well. And the lockdown is over in Paris, so it means places are open. The Eiffel Tower is opening today, actually. The Louvre Museum is opening Monday, and we have received the information that all meetings and trade shows will be able to hold as of September. So a number of events have been postponed, not canceled, but postponed from the first semester to the second semester. It will be a very intense second semester. So we need to bring our power of communication and our energy to these events of the second semester, and also relaunch the communication for the upcoming events as of 2021. Of course, it's a very how should I say, it's a very powerful sector we need to support, and a lot of local activities depend on it. It's the same in every city, I suppose. And so a lot of our members really count on us and rely on us to help them send this message of health and safety in Paris.
Yeah. Okay. You know, one of the key trends which is coming out of in this crisis is one which is a theme of regionalization. As both Laurence and Elodie have mentioned, in the first phase of coming out of the COVID, it's going to be local and then perhaps neighboring countries. You know, there's this new concept which is called the travel bubble, which means that we can create strong relationships with other countries where we know they're as safe as we are, we're in a similar situation. Francois, for you in Luxembourg, since you're a small place, I would think that this regionalization approach would be very important to you. Can you comment on that yourself, on how you're going about that? And then I'll ask Cemil to jump in on the same topic, because I think it'll be interesting for them also.
Yes, it's quite, the situation of Luxembourg is very specific, because we are close from Belgium, from Germany, from France. And we know that at the beginning we will have some event based in the local way. But we know, and as we have a look to the past, there is a lot of people from what we said about the Grand Region coming in Luxembourg to have this event. And we really want, and we really work closely with our partner to have a minimum standard to guarantee safe and safety inside Luxembourg, and also working with our, the other closest country with clients to see how we could solve this solution, because as Luxembourg is very small, we really need to have a perfect connection with the other. And it's sometimes is very difficult, because when you have a look to the different situations, there is some livre blanc in France for the safety, and just about the distanciation is not the same in France, in Belgium, or in Germany. And we are close of this part. And it's always very difficult to explain to people that it's 1 meter in for 14 kilometers there, and 2 meters for 14 kilometers in the west. So it's very difficult to explain this situation, to deliver the correct message, and to reassure our clients to all meeting in Luxembourg. So this is what we try to explain to association, but it's very not simple.
Well, Cemil, how about you in Istanbul? Because you're in the definition of Istanbul is that you're between Europe and Asia and the Middle East, but I think there could be opportunities for you to create a sort of a regional partnership, perhaps with some places in the Middle East that are not too far from you. Moving forward, or some other countries that are in the Mediterranean area like you are? Are you guys thinking about that?
You are very correct about that, because it is apparent that we are going through some hybrid era. So in this is not going to stay like this forever. So the alternative way is to flourish the domestic market first, which automatically, naturally, it'll go like that, because people want to take their own car, they want to go their own places where they think they're safe and all. And if you go one notch above that when it comes to regional question in mind, we have Greece and Bulgaria on the west, and we have Georgia and Iran, Iraq, and all those, Syria on the west, east and southeast. First, well, when you open up the borders, it's a lot easier for any kind of virus go over. So they close it, but now they were open. But for being in the same region gives you the advantage of timing, and also having the same climate and same environment, more or less. So people are much more adjustable to the changes in the same region. You know, they can always go back so quickly and come back quickly again. And the communication is very, very much easier. So yes, and it's going to that direction as we are experiencing it now.
Okay. And Berta, any ideas on that idea of regionalization from your perspective, from a digital platform?
I do indeed, Bruce. I think we need to really accept the situation that now there's a big thing happening, and there's a paradigm shift. So we need, as long as we can cope with this situation, it's gonna be more on cooperation than competition, in my opinion. And as you rightfully mentioned, regionalization is going to be an important aspect of it. And I believe with the digital tools that we have right now and the digital models, the opportunities are endless. Obviously, we need to recover this process altogether, but In the end, we're living in an automated world, in a much more efficient communication world, where there's content marketing, inbound marketing, and as long as we can provide right content, we can exchange this content among parties. I think tourism industry, travel industry, and especially events industry need to start communicating in a way much more closer to the sharing economy. And there are various ways of doing it, but as we had done in Istanbul, this framework approach, where you constantly keep your communication with the clients from various omni-channel tools, not only newsletter, but social media, but and global partners, etc., data-driven targeting, and understanding better the client, finding out best ways to communicate the great tools that we can deliver to the client. I think that will create the future of the industry.
I agree. I think it'll be completely different. You know, it's interesting as we talk about the future of events. We don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but we have a pretty good idea that at least in the short term, we'll be seeing a lot more hybrid events, maybe some virtual events. But at the same time, because many of us are still confined to our countries or to our cities, we can't continue the sales process as we used to do. We can't go to trade shows as we used to do. It's more difficult to go and do sales visits that we did. So there's a real need now to create new sales and marketing tools, mostly based on digital, Ferda, as you were just mentioned. So I was wondering if, again, Laurence, in Brussels, have you been focusing on creating new sales tools to be able to continue the sales process, knowing that you won't be able to, again, there won't be as many face-to-face meetings as there used to be in the past, just because of the crisis not allowing it to take place. Have you worked on creating some new tools that are more digital than what we had in the past?
So you mean for Visit Brussels, for the convention or the other teams? Yes. So it's basically we are in the process of. So we didn't focus on that in the beginning. Well, we have marketing video campaigns, but not really focused on this point. But we will. We are basically reorganizing the second semester of this year, and considering all these issues for the different markets. It could, well, the MICE, of course, but also the B2B markets and the trade, everything. So we are now analyzing all actions, all activities, all events that we initially planned in our planning, and considering the B plan. So we will be ready for sure.
Okay.
This is basically, there are plenty of options, so we are lucky, and also it's also a possibility for us to involve also our venues, because we are providing funds for them to equip their venues. We are so we've been working a lot on that, and it will be also the occasion to interact with them and maybe to organize events there, to coordinate hybrid events or multi-hub events, and benefit from the installations and the offer of our sector, new offer. Yeah.
How about in Luxembourg, Francois? Are you working on new tools, new marketing techniques in this era, which is going to be more digital than it has been in the past?
Yeah. We just began. We work with EY about the digitalization of the destination, because we done during this crisis period very close work with EY, and we have some interview with Belgium, Germany, Holland, and France to see what it will be the future. So. Of this digitalization, on where we are here in Luxembourg inside different partners, because you're right. Digitalization is a future, and we have to propose a hybrid event. We have to propose to have new tools for connection, and we have really to help our partners to improve the system, because we could talk about hybridization, or we could talk about digitalization if our partner don't have enough technique and enough knowledge. We couldn't reach a goal and we couldn't help them. So we just finished yesterday this studies and we defined 3 different ways to work in the future, and how we could help the destination to improve their capacity to be just in the balance of the market. So
Right.
this is what we done. We create also, and we have we promote, because it was very impressive. But we have some solution here in Luxembourg made by the service provider. But for example, the hotel don't know this technique. So we just keep them in touch, and we just introduce each other to say, okay, this is your tools, this is your hotel, and then you could match it and create a new offer. And then we create inside a website a specific event, digital event sectors, and where people could do, and where a partner could put their offer inside. So this is where we work.
Okay. Elodie, anything to add to that on the digital side? Elodie? No?
I'm here. Yes, we have, can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So we have transformed our events of the second semester, our sales calls, our trade participation, and so on. We have transformed everything into digital. So it's not yet exactly hybrid, it's completely digital. But for 2021, we're working on an action plan that would be maybe possibly hybrid. For one thing, it would keep the costs down for a lot of our members. They have suffered a lot this year, so we expect some of them may have difficulties to keep up with and also we may consider communicating on a more sustainable way of doing business. It means less traveling, more digital, and twist the necessity of doing digital events into doing them for sustainability reasons. We have found out during the lockdown period that a lot of meetings were able to take place, and by video, like us, like this, with Zoom or Teams or other tools, and it worked very well. So why not continue doing some of this? But of course, there will still be the necessity of meeting the clients. Face-to-face meeting cannot be replaced by video at all. So we are working on shaking up everything we do, and maybe do 50-50, or find a reasonable stability and equilibrium in mixing up this type of events. It will depend on how far the clients are, how much time difference there is, how long since we have seen them last, and so on.
Sure, right, okay. Emil, how about in Istanbul? How are you doing on the digital side there?
Well, digital side, I see it like this. If you look at it from the bright side, apparently we get used to using this alternative way of communicating, which we did not. That means in the future, God forbid, same thing, happens again, the reaction time is going to be a lot shorter than it was. So it's like changing your spare tire. Once you got a flat tire, first time you spend a lot of time on it, but second time you know what to do, you know where the nuts are, you just know the whole procedure. So that gives us a hint. But as my colleague mentioned before, it's not the real thing. I mean, when you, like, it's one thing for me to ask you to come down to Istanbul and see me, and we'll go around together and we'll have fun, blah, blah. It's another thing, well, I have a camera in my hand, just watch me doing it. It's not the same thing. And economically, it is not a good thing to do. I mean, it seems like saving a lot of money, but meanwhile, while doing this hybrid or internet event, a lot of people are not making the money that they used to make. You know, you won't have those waitress serving you. You don't have those valet guy parking your car. So all these details, that means, and the synergy in the air, you know, you just, if you are living in, let's say, Argentina during the winter time, and you're coming here for a convention, your daytime is changing, your climate is changing, you're in summer all of a sudden. That is an experience from leaving your door, coming here and going back to your country again. It's a story you tell about. You can't do that on net or on screens, for that matter. So I would definitely hope and sincerely think that this will be over soon, and we will get back to whatever we were doing in the past, hopefully.
Yes, yes. Well, we all, I think everybody hopes that that's the case. But in the meantime, I think there'll be a phase of a lot of hybrid or virtual events.
Sure, but the only thing we could do, I got some numbers here, as like Turkey did, to be as healthy and as safety as possible. You know, according to Forbes magazine, we're ranked 37 in top 100 safe countries. And we just, hotels are getting certificates, COVID certificates. 144 hotels in Istanbul has already got one, and 401 on the line to get it. So that tells you this awareness thing is out there on the streets, and people are lined up to get it. And also 3 million tests with the daily capacity of 50,000, which tells you another indicator. And the healthcare system has 40,000 intensive care beds and almost 24,000 mechanical ventilators, which is a very good number, you know. And 11 new hospitals were built, and the number and the list goes on and on like that, as Turkish Airlines is flying everywhere. But the thing is, sooner or later, a vaccine comes up, whatever that is, but we will be very much susceptible again to these kind of events in the future, just because we have experienced it in the past. So that has its positive sides, as I mentioned, and it has also its negative sides, which is psychological. You know, people are not the same as they used to be.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for that, Cemil. And maybe we could use that as a closing remarks. I know that Laurence, Elodie already had to leave. She had another meeting at 11 o'clock. And I know that Laurence also has another commitment. I wanted to thank Elodie for her participation. Laurence, thank you very much for your taking the time to be with us today, and for sharing what's going on in Brussels. Francois, many thanks for you from Luxembourg. It was really good to hear what's going on there. Cemil and Berta, thank you for giving the Istanbul perspective.
Thank you, sir.
I think we're well on the way to preparing for what's going to happen after this crisis. I think everybody's hard at work on that. And as we saw, I think that what we've seen in Istanbul, at least, is on the digital side, you're well prepared, I think, for what's going to come next. So that puts you in a good strong position. Anyway, so with that, I just want to say thank you to you all for your participation. I thought it was a very interesting discussion. Thank you to Cemil and to Berta for their sponsoring this. I thought it was very nice of them to do that. And we look forward to seeing you all soon, perhaps hopefully in person, but if not, perhaps on another one of these calls where we can share ideas and see what's going on. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Good luck in the future, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.
Take care.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you.